In this video, we explore the compelling narrative of Katsuragi, a carrier that arrived too late to alter the course of history, but stands as the last survivor of Japan's remarkable fleet carriers. Join us as we uncover the untold stories and fascinating details that make Katsuragi a captivating subject for our historical exploration. Let's dive in. As the aircraft carrier Taiho descended into the water, succumbing to its inevitable fate, Vice Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa made the solemn choice to go down with his magnificent vessel. The Battle of the Philippine Sea had just commenced, and the once formidable ship had suffered irreparable damage. In the ensuing minutes, Ozawa's staff managed to persuade him that their need for his leadership was paramount. Reluctantly, he carried the Emperor's portrait and decided to continue the fight aboard a nearby vessel. However, as he was being transferred to a friendly destroyer on the way to his new flagship, a devastating explosion shattered the remnants of his beloved Taiho. Ozawa had to abandon Taiho to its fate, a fate possibly sealed more by the actions of his own crew than by the enemy. This marked the beginning of what would be known as the delusions of glory. The inception of the new Taiho aircraft carrier design was approved for construction in 1939, modeled after the veteran carrier Shokaku. Although initially intended to be part of a new generation of Japanese aircraft carriers, Taiho remained the sole ship of its class. Noteworthy features of Taiho included being the first Japanese aircraft carrier with an armored flight deck, boasting thicknesses of up to 80 millimeters in some areas. Capable of enduring multiple 500-kilogram bomb hits and still remaining operational. The ship's flight deck measured 257 by 30 meters, the largest total area of any Japanese carrier before the Shinano. Unique to Taiho was its offset design, necessitated by the island structure and weight distribution. Unlike pre-war Japanese carriers, the flight deck was not wooden planked, but made of steel and coated with latex. The carrier was equipped with 14 hydraulically operated arrestor wires for landings and 3 crash barriers. Featuring 2 large 100-long-ton armored elevators, one aft and the other forward of the island, Taiho could convey aircraft as heavy as 7.5 long tons. While the original design included 2 catapults on the bow for assisted takeoffs, engineers ultimately opted for rocket-assisted gear instead. Advancements in design Taiho shared a resemblance with British illustrious class carriers, featuring a plated bow extending to the flight deck level that enhanced seakeeping and improved airflow over the forward deck. Propelled by 160,000 shaft horsepower, the carrier boasted a remarkable top speed of 33.3 knots and a cruising radius of 10,000 nautical miles at 18 knots. In contrast to European counterparts, Taiho's original design omitted radar installations. The Japanese Imperial Navy remained unaware of the use of pulsed radar in combat by other nations until 1941, when a Japanese technical mission visited Germany. Subsequently, Japan initiated an expedited radar development plan, leading to the installation of a Type 21 radar on Taiho's island and another on the lower bridge deck just before its completion in 1944. Regarding armament, the carrier was equipped with 12 cutting-edge 65 caliber Type 98 anti-aircraft guns arranged in 6 twin-gun configurations, 3 on each side. Operated electro-hydraulically, they also had a manual function if necessary, firing at a rate of 15 rounds per minute with a range of 14 kilometers horizontally or 1 kilometer vertically, managed by 11 crew members. Additionally, Taiho featured 17 triple-mount 25mm anti-aircraft cannons, with 16 positioned on sponsons just below the flight deck level and 1 on the flight deck itself. These electrically powered mounts could also operate manually, boasting a firing rate of 110 to 120 rounds per minute and a maximum range of 3 kilometers. The vessel further carried 25 portable standard Type 96 guns, a robust carrier. The carrier's upper and lower hangars, measuring 150 meters in length and 5 meters in height, were integral to its design. To enhance fire safety, the two hangars were segmented into sections, 5 on the upper deck and 4 on the lower. These sections were divided by fireproofed fabric curtains, strategically limiting the air supply to impede the spread of fire. Additionally, a foam spray system lined the walls and ends of the hangars, while the lower hangar could be flooded with carbon dioxide if the need arose. During its construction, the planned air wing for the vessel fluctuated from 126 aircraft to a mere 53 at the time of operation. In contrast to American carriers, Japanese aircraft featured a wide folded wingspan, with various types folding near the tips or not folding at all. Intended to carry larger and more modern carrier-based aircraft, many of these aircraft were still in development during the construction of Taiho, causing delays. At its peak, Taiho was equipped with 22 Mitsubishi A6M5 Ryzen 0 fighters, 22 Yokosuka D4Y1 Suisei Judy dive bombers, 3 Aichi D3A2 Val dive bombers, and 18 Nakajima B6N2 Tenzan Jill torpedo bombers. Despite its sturdiness, Taiho boasted a waterline belt armor as thick as 152 mm in certain areas, capable of withstanding a 300-kilogram charge. However, the substantial weight of the armor led to the immersion of its hull, with the lower hangar deck barely visible above the load waterline. Notably, the bottom part of the two elevator wells was situated below the waterline. These elevators served as the roofs of the fuel tanks, with only partial armor protection due to the naval designers prioritizing coverage for the bomb and torpedo magazines. Unfortunately, this decision would later prove to be fatal. A stealthy adversary. The aircraft carrier commenced her service in Singapore before being dispatched to Lingga Roads off Sumatra, where it joined the 1st Carrier Division, 1st Mobile Force, alongside veteran carriers Shokaku and Zuikaku. Following a training period, Vice Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa officially transferred his flag to Taiho, intending to leverage the vessel's extensive command facilities. The fleet then set course for Borneo, anticipating the commencement of the Kantai-Kesen final battle. With the American invasion of Saipan on June 11th prompting Operation A-Go, Ozawa swiftly mobilized his fleet towards the Philippines to intercept the approaching American carrier forces. On June 19th, at 7:45 a.m., Taiho found herself embroiled in the Battle of the Philippine Sea, becoming one of 9 Japanese carriers engaging the American forces. Deploying 16 Zeros, 17 Judy dive bombers, and 9 Jill torpedo bombers in Ozawa's second attack wave, the ship faced a fierce encounter. However, amidst the takeoff, an enemy submarine approached Taiho, launching 6 torpedoes without warning. Warrant Officer Sakio Komatsu, a Japanese strike pilot, bravely intervened by deliberately crashing into the path of one torpedo, saving the vessel. Despite this heroic effort, the 6th torpedo struck, causing an explosion that breached the hull on the starboard side ahead of the island. The impact fractured the aviation fuel tanks, jamming the forward elevator between the flight deck and the upper hangar deck. The ensuing flooding tilted the ship downward by 1.5 meters, as seawater, fuel oil, and aviation gasoline created a perilous mix. The captain slowed the ship to mitigate the ingress of seawater, and despite the absence of fires, Vice Admiral Ozawa ordered the resumption of normal flight operations. By 9:20 a.m., Taiho prepared to launch 2 more waves of strike aircraft, but accumulating gasoline vapors and fumes within the elevator pit posed a growing threat. Despite the crew's awareness of the risks, their inadequate training and practical knowledge hindered effective damage control measures. As the ship's hangars became difficult to ventilate, damage control teams struggled to manage the volatile situation. Normal operations resumed, but the crew's inability to address the accumulating flammable substances, coupled with Taiho's heavy armor causing deep immersion, proved disastrous. Unprotected airspaces around the aviation fuel tanks increased the risk of spontaneous ignition. Approximately 6.5 hours after the initial hit, a severe explosion rocked the carrier, causing the flight deck to heave and the sides to blow out. Shortly thereafter, a second explosion obliterated the remnants of Taiho, sinking stern first and claiming the lives of 1,650 officers and men. Following this tragedy, subsequent Japanese carriers underwent reinforcement with concrete in their pits, addressing a crucial flaw: deficient damage control. Thank you for watching. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel.